Just before we start the podcast, Armo's got a tip. How are we looking?
So you, mate.
Oh, this is a beauty.
Looking good, isn't it?
You beauty.
Oh, what a way to start, lads. That's bolted in.
That's bolted in.
That's why we've invited him.
Five
for Jamie.
Michelle. Michelle.
Welcome to Tommy Talks,
Welcome.
boys. Very lucky for everyone listening. We've got David Armitage and Jono O'Rourke, some former AFL players to talk about the AFL season that's creeped up on us. And when's the last time you reckon you've seen a Wednesday night game?
Not for a long time. I can't even think of.
There's ever been one.
There's ever been
Is
one.
it the first one?
Midweek.
I don't know.
What do you think of it? I love it.
Oh, it's a good way to start the season, I reckon. Grand final rematch. Wednesday night. Breaks up the week. So
It's good for us, spectators.
Yeah.
I don't know how you'd go playing in it. I don't know if I'd be pumped with a Wednesday night game.
I reckon it's good if you have the next games back to normal. Can you get a long break?
Yes, that's true.
Because the prep now is pre-season, first round.
Yep.
Everyone's had a week and a bit
Yep.
more off anyway. But we'll talk about the AFL season. It has popped up, and we'll go through the markets today, and we'll talk about the Brownlow medal tips that we've all got, Coleman, NAB Rising Star, and then just the top 8. I don't want you to give me your 8, lads, but I want you to give me who you think is going to creep up there this year. Who's the team that's going to be in there that might not, be touted to be in there? So I guess we'll start with you. Before we go, Dave, before we get into it, I should say, what have you been up to, mate? What have you been doing?
Yeah, it's a good question. I've got 2 kids, so that consumes a lot of my time. So that's priority number 1. Working as well for Fairhaven Homes, so in the residential construction industry, and playing footy with Bomb Beach down in the Mornington Peninsula League. So a couple of old teammates, Semi Gilbert and Trent Dennis Lane.
Oh, nice.
Tyson Milne, which is Stephen Milne's son,
Yeah.
and the Pecketts are all down there. So it's a massive Saints contingency down there. So that's pretty much what I've been up to,
That's
mate.
good, mate. Good. Family life. How you juggling it all? Good?
Oh, it's tough. It's tough. A 3-year-old and an 8-month-year-old.
Wow.
Yeah, 8-month-old. So it's tough, boy and girl. But I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world. But I mean, you look back on these days and go, it was tough, but geez, it was worth it. So.
Yeah, that's good. And all the boys together. How are you shaping you guys to be one of the favourites in that league?
Absolutely, yeah. Last year we didn't get a final series because of COVID. We finished on top. Didn't get to play against a few of the top teams.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've got Frankston YC first up this year for round 1, April 2nd. Dill Roberton has gone there.
Yeah.
So he's playing for Frankston YC, which will be interesting. And yeah, their touted has been up there with us as well. So it's going to be
Dill's a good
blockbuster.
he's from Frankston growing up.
He
isn't
is.
So he's
I
gone-
tried to get him to Bomb Beach, but he said, mate, I've got
Well.
schoolmates. He ended up going down there. So
That's great. And you
okay.
plonk yourself in the midfield, I would have thought.
Yeah, wherever, mate. Sally's all guts. Wherever they need me.
Sally's all guts.
As long as I don't get tagged because I'm too slow. I'm too unfit and too slow to be tagged. So hopefully I
much.
go to someone else, Gilbo or someone.
Yeah. Is he still flying around half
He
back?
is. Yeah, ruck. He wanted to ruck.
Really?
Oh, mate, it's the worst spot in the ground, and he wanted to ruck.
It's a ground
Can you
level
believe that?
ruckman, I would have thought.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Extra
but
baller.
he's a star. He played really well last year, and yeah, again, ruck or probably midfield. But we picked up a couple. One of them's Jaden. He's in the ruck, and I think he'll be pretty good.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. I think Gilbo, I haven't seen him since the halftime sprint. We did it together.
Really?
I embarrassed my family that day.
I did it too. I got a couple of tickets and some cash. So that's why we do it, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly right. That's great. And Jono, welcome to Tommy Talks as well, mate. What have you been up
Thanks
to?
for having me,
Yeah, it's good to be here at the front of your joint in the Roland Media van. It's
not what I was expecting, but it's good little setup.
well, I'd rather you don't have to worry about a park. We'll come down to you and just jump straight in. But mate, what have you been up to? What are you doing for work? And playing footy?
Working, doing some project management stuff for a fit out company in the city. So that's keeping me pretty busy, and then having a kick of the footy down at Caulfield in the VAFA. So I think, did you boys play together at Collegians? No.
No,
Just missed.
Yeah.
I had a year there. I think it was a 20. And
You were the year before
Yeah,
me.
and COVID didn't get it.
So COVID's gone back.
season.
COVID's gone back to back.
Yep.
Wow.
11 games, I think, in 2 years we've played. So
Yeah.
not many.
Caulfield. Is BJ still down there doing his thing?
Nah. So I think BJ might be at St. Kevin's at the moment,
okay.
helping out there.
Wherever
But
money talks, I suppose.
yeah, I think one of his
no
mates
money
is
in that
coaching
league.
there. So
Oh,
he's,
yeah, true.
It's a good standard, the Amos.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Last
good
year, I
footy.
couldn't believe how much I struggled when I I didn't have a pre-season. I rolled in and I was just that far off it.
Yeah, you can't take it like lightly and just roll in. There's
it's a good
blokes
standard.
there having a bit of a crack.
When we played Kevin's, I think my first game, I just embarrassed myself. Like I played half forward thinking I'll just kick a couple. I honestly reckon I had 4 touches. I'm just getting abused. You know, like blokes, they want AFL standard. You're washed up, hack. And next couple of weeks, you start to get into it because you're a bit embarrassed. Oh, that's great. Well, that's good. Well, big year for both of yous. I'll be able to come down and watch on the hill. I've given them up for a year at least anyway.
Hopefully you can stay on the park, mate. I tend to do a few soft tissue injuries, so I think hopefully can play more than 6 games.
Probably not from all the cans.
Give something back. The preparation isn't great, I don't think.
Yeah, the function nights will be your go. We'll get into it. This show will be brought to you by Dabble, and we will be having a dabble on the season, boys, and there's a few markets that we'll touch on. Thanks to Armo that just tipped us a winner there at Morphettville, mind you. But it is a big season ahead. I think the crowds are back. I'm actually starting to get excited. I don't know about you since I finished footy last year. I just fell out of love with it. I was over it. This year I'm excited. I'm looking forward to all the spectators getting to games. I feel like everyone wants the crowd. You know, people getting a bit lazy watching TV. I reckon everyone wants the atmosphere. So it's going to be a big year, and you know the D's obviously dominated the granny last year. But we'll start with the Premier's favourite. Who is your tip, lads, and why? Start with you, Armo.
Oh, I think Melbourne again will be hard, very hard to beat. They've just got a solid game plan, and everyone again knows their role and they play it. And they've got some superstars, Petrarca, Oliver, guys like this, and then they've Salem, and then they've got their role players. It's almost like how Richmond went about it when they had their dynasty, and now I think it's Melbourne's turn. I think they're going to be hard to beat, not only this year but years to come.
They've got a good list.
A really, really good list, and they've picked up really good players in May, going back a few years, Lever, those kind of types. So I just think they're going to be too good. Dogs will improve, and if it is them again in the granny, then they'll probably be better. But I just still think they're going to be too strong, Melbourne.
If Melbourne were to win it, who are they going to play? In your opinion, Dogs?
Yeah, probably Dogs.
Top 2?
Or, yeah, Dogs. Who's the others? Maybe Brisbane or...
Yeah, I'm pretty big on Brisbane this year. I think it's now or kind of never for them at the minute. Like they've been around the mark. Get another big year out of Danaher up forward.
Joey's
second year there.
Big shout out to Joey. Just signed a big deal, which is great.
Yeah.
He looks like... I reckon people forget he had a bit of time off there last year. He's very impressive. I think this year he's going to...
Yeah, I reckon he'll have a big year this year. And then Neil, they've still got a lot of good players, Brisbane in their prime. So I reckon they'll definitely be up there if it isn't Melbourne. I think Melbourne's obviously the obvious choice at the moment, just how good they finished this season.
So you think Brisbane, Melbourne for you, Jono?
Yeah, I think they're the two. I reckon Richmond will bounce back as well for a team that kind of...
I think that's
didn't make the 8 last year.
Yeah, I think they're more smoky to make the 8 this year.
Yeah. They've been spoken about Richmond, which is probably they'd like that.
The other thing's Port as well, I reckon.
Port,
sort of going to be in the top 4 as well. So that, on their day, they're good enough too.
I think about it this year is probably the closest the competition's been for a long time. Because you go do your top 4, and I'll go the odds down here. You got Melbourne favourites, Doggies second, then Brisbane, Port, Richmond, Geelong, Sydney, GWS is your top 8. But then you got Essendon, St Kilda, Carlton, Freo. There's a few other teams there, but
a few of those will improve as well.
Yeah,
Carlton, St Kilda could, those two, Essendon, Freo. They're also around that same mark, and any of them could, drop in and surprise.
Yeah, there's a big, there's a big group of teams that are going to be fighting for those last couple of spots. I think in the 8 this year, like they're going to be some stiff sides. So.
And we know injuries play a massive role as well. Absolutely. So who can keep their list?
Exactly right.
Who can keep their list healthy? I think Brisbane as well. I just think there's something to do with that back-to-back. It's really rare. I think the teams that you mentioned are going to be right up there. I just think Brisbane have been around the mark for like 2 or 3 years. And like you said, it is their time. I don't think it's like do or die. I think they've got a healthy list. They've got a young list as well that's come up. But like Zach Bailey and, Lockie Neal was a bit banged up last year. And
Cluggage.
Cam Rayner's back. And you got all these players that no one's really speaking about. And then you got one of the most just delicious forward lines, like on the ground, in the air. I think Eric Hipwood will come back as well. I don't know whether he's coming back, soon but he'll be ready.
Was he ACL?
I think he hurt his knee big time, So that'll be a slow one. But if Joey, the forward line might change. You know how they always had 3 talls. I reckon
McStay.
Yeah, McStay was kind of the third. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. My old mob, Giants, your old mob as well. I'm hoping that they can get. I think they've changed the way they're going to play this year. I don't know what they're doing, but I just feel like there's a lot of maturity that have been together for a long time. Bit of do or die for the Giants, I think, as well, because of the salary cap issues we all know about. It's time for, hopefully, they always play finals, the Giants, and hopefully this year is the one that they can take it to the next step.
Toby misses the first 6 games, doesn't he? That's kind of...
It's 5 or 6?
Maybe 5.
Yeah.
5 or 6, but... Yeah, they seem to not win as many games when he's not out there. So hopefully they can snag a few early and then get him back in. It's a big inclusion.
I think they probably have to go well. Otherwise, I think the coach signed on, but I think he would be one that would be under pressure this year. In my opinion.
I hope for Leon's sake they fire up and do well. Great group of lads as well. Team orientation first. I think Cogs will bounce back this year. It's been a very, as you know, COVID interrupted everything and a lot of even just chemistry off the field. You can't do anything. So this will be good to see everyone back to full flight now, and I reckon Giants will be a team that I think we'll talk about now that's going to push up. They're already in the final 8 from last year, and they're predicted to be there. But I think people are forgetting about them a little bit.
I certainly have.
But my value bet of if you can bet on the markets of top 8, but I think Carlton.
Yeah.
Everyone says it every year.
That's what I was just about to say.
I know,
every year.
They have to.
I reckon.
Under Voss.
Like when a new coach comes in, I feel like everyone just sparks up. It's like a new house. You go to a new house, a new rental.
Yeah, they've picked up a few nice
They have.
players.
Cherry's in there.
And the Sydney
And I think
Hewitt, is it? So
Yeah.
he'd be handy to have there. Just another mature kind
And
of
Crip is a
player.
beast.
Yeah.
What do you think of that? Do you reckon Carlton will make the 8?
Yeah, I think so. I think they have to.
Yeah.
They've been there that many times, and I think Voss coming in, he's gets his second chance, and I think he'll be getting them to play a style of footy that's like attractive, and they're going to be tough as well. So their midfield's really strong. DeConey showed what he could do the other night. Jump over blokes like you got him in the ruck, pinch hitting forward. I think they should be in the 8. Really, they should be.
Mackay and Kerno, they get them firing up forward, and
They got the spine.
They got a good.
They got a really good list. I reckon you're right. Voss will get it together. What about you boys? Who else do you think can push for the top 8 that's not really predicted to be there, if any?
I reckon your other old mob, Freo, I reckon they could bob up this year. They've got a lot of talent as well now that people forget about. Like Brayshaw, he's a gun. So I reckon they're a little smoky for me.
So Freo, yeah.
Yeah, well, I said it at the start. I think Richmond. I think Richmond will be up there. I know they've got a few maybes or to be confirmed at the moment with, I think it's Lambert with the hip and someone with the thumb, and there's a couple of little niggling injuries there, Grimes. But, again, it comes down to injuries. If they stay fit, teams will hate playing against them just for what they've done. So I think there'll be demons there with teams going, oh, no, if Richmond are full strength, we're in trouble. So I think they can win enough games to put them in.
I reckon they're another one that people, and because you get that, like, it's a successful club. You don't really, it's like Sydney, they're just always
they're
good,
the other one.
They're always good. Even when you think they're about to rebuild, bang, they're straight back in finals.
No one had them last year, did they? And they surprised everyone.
Their kids were unbelievable.
Flying, so they got some really good kids. So
that's why I'm so excited. There's just so much talent everywhere, and it's going to be a great year. We'll get into the Coleman medal race. Dabble markets have Mackay at $4, Tom Hawkins at $6, Jeremy Cameron $6.50, Tommy Lynch $8, Buddy Franklin $10, Maxi King $11, and then there's a list that goes on. There's a bit of value there. Is there anyone that you guys think, with the teams you're tipping and the way they're going to play, that you think there'd be a good bet now to get on?
You look down there, Aaron Norton. He's not a bad one.
Yeah.
Mate,
what's he paying?
He's $11 or something.
We've got Norton there at $13.
What's Danaher? He'd be a bit of value.
Joey's at 15 on Dabble.
If Brisbane are going to win enough games, if he can kick straight, he seems to miss a few.
My tip's Joey.
Yeah.
I think because of the forward line, he'll get more service, a bit of market share. It's a bit like NFL when we talk about touchdowns and that. If there's 2 wide receivers versus 3, they're going to get more entries. So for Joey's sake anyway. I reckon Joey's a really good value bet for mine.
Yeah.
And it's a forward line where he's probably the man. I mean, Charlie's there as well, but he's just small, and then you're tall. It's traditionally a tall's award. Yeah, Joey's my bet.
Norton be my each way bet, if you like, and then it would be either Hawkins or Lynch. I think. Yeah.
Norton's like he's the main man up there now, isn't he? With Bruce out for the year. So
does that mean he gets double teamed?
Yeah, well that might be
not really. He can jump on. He can jump on the moon.
Some good hands. He doesn't drop many. So
yeah.
He's another one if he's kicking them straight.
I've never looked at these markets before. Obviously, a year out now, and how many years you've been out? 2 years?
3
years. How long have you been out for?
Yeah, 3. Have
you ever had a future bet on a Coleman?
Nah.
Never ever done it.
I'm actually still scared to bet on footy, to be honest, even though I'm allowed to now.
I know.
You just get it drummed into you. Yeah. You're not allowed to bet on footy. Never allowed to bet on footy.
It feels a bit awkward talking about it.
It does.
That's what I mean. I've never looked at the markets. Yeah. It's just like...
And you're fresher than us out, so...
Yeah. A year and a half. Yeah. Yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah, it all comes down to really injury for these guys. There you go. So, Norton, Joey, and Joey for Jono.
Yeah, I'll go Joey. Take the 15.
We've left. We want value.
Little boost.
Little boost there and the little rocket. We head into the but it's just the Rising Star Award. I don't know a lot about the field. It's a bit like it's like your 2-year-old Phillies boys at Gold Coast, the Magic Millions.
Anything can happen.
There's obviously...
Just look at the pedigree, do you?
Yeah, you look at the pedigree. You see the word Dacos trials. And you think it's a nice trial. Well bred.
It's well bred, Dacos.
I'll be taking Nick.
$1 million colt.
Yeah. He's a good looking colt.
You happy with you?
I think Nick's put on a bit of a clinic in the early games. Not that they mean a lot, but they do if you're 18 years old.
Yeah, well, the other one is the second favourite, JHF, the hyphen.
Yeah.
Jason Home.
Yeah, he looks...
Is it Home? Francis? Yeah, he just from just the little glimpses you've seen.
He'll get a lot of...
He looks a real player, and he'll play a lot.
Yeah.
Being at North, they're rebuilding. They need to bring that talent through. So, it's going to be pretty much one of those two, I would have thought.
2-horse race, we believe, and so does the market.
The Hawthorn boy there, Ward, he looked pretty good as well.
Josh Ward?
Josh Ward from what I saw, the NAB Cup, or whatever they call it now.
Yeah.
He was racking up the possessions.
But even you
runs all day, I think, real fit. So
what people forget...
And he'll play. I mean, Hawthorn, they're not looking too strong this year. So.
Yeah, it's funny. People forget about the players that have already played a little bit.
That qualifier.
Yeah, with the rules on it. But there's not a lot jumping out at me at the moment. But yeah, one of those awards that who knows until the first 5 rounds are down. We'll get into a more sexier market, which is the Brownlow Medal. Something that's pretty hard. It's a midfielder's award. You've tipped the D's to win, but you got midfielders that steal each other's votes. Do you think one of them boys will...
I think so. I think Petrarca, there's been so much hype about him that I think that certainly has an influence on how umpires see things at times. So the more hype in the media there is about someone, the more votes they get.
It's funny.
It's funny how it works, but it's true. So I think Petrarca or Bontempelli would be my tip.
They're the two.
They're the two.
Both probably top 2 players in the competition now.
Bond or Petrarca, they don't have to get 30. They only have to get, it's a bit like Dusty. They only have to get 20, 22 and kick 2 or 3, and they get 3 votes. So
it's about hitting the scoreboard, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need to kick a couple. Yep. Otherwise, it's just you're not making as much
or have
impacts.
10 plus tackles, or just stand out somehow.
Yeah, for sure. Is there any smokies that you? In the Brownlow, I think last year Ollie Wines was about 80 to 1 at the start of the year.
Was he?
Yeah.
That's a great value bet.
A good value bet. So,
well, I've gone.
Even Dusty's there, $13.
Yeah.
He stands out. So
yeah,
it's going to be fit.
I've got a value one. Yeah, Patrick Cripps at $17.
Oh, yeah, actually.
I didn't realise he was $17, but I think that he's going to be. I think Voss is going to get the best out of Cripper, and I think being an inside mid. The big ball. You can't move inside mids. They get their own ball. So it's the outside ball that they need to work on their patterns. And even if they get tagged, they don't really care.
Which was sort of scrutinised with Cripper last year. Is he injured? Is he carrying a bit?
He looked like he was injured.
And that outside ball did lack. But what we've seen in the NAB already, what was it called, NAB?
Pre-season games. I've got no idea. Wizard Cup.
Yeah, so what I've seen, he looks like he's covering the ground really well. Looks like he's lean and has no injuries. So if he keeps that way far out, he's so hard to stop.
I reckon he's one of the most valuable bets on the market right now. The $17.
Yep.
Walshy's coming back from injury. I think he's going to play soon. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen it, but that midfield will be stacked with Chera and all that. But they're going to cause a lot of dramas. And as I said to you, I kind of see them having a really solid year. Traditionally, the Brownlow medal, it doesn't have to be the best team, does it? It's that one player that just stacks them. And because he does kick goals, I think he'll be a really, really solid little wager there at $17 on Dabble. So that's a good little market, that one. And I guess the next one is just who are the teams where you kind of see maybe sliding?
Like there's probably a few teams that got a bit of pressure, like the Giants you said earlier, and then St Kilda probably got a bit of pressure on them to play finals this year. So they're the teams that you'd think they could slide, and then you start feeling the heat. The coaches start feeling the heat middle of the year.
Yeah, Saints are a funny one. I mean, at their best, they have Ryder. Hopefully Jonesy's doing okay. He's taken a bit of a break for personal reasons, but he's another leader that Saints really need on field, along with Jack Steele, because they don't have a big contingency of on-field leadership. You got Cal Wilkie down the back line. Generally, a lot of the guys are quiet. They lead by example, but they're quiet game day. But I think the inclusion of Gresham, Ben Patton back there, I think really bolsters them. So if they stay fit, I believe they could scrape into the 8 as well. But it'll come down to if they can stay fit for mine.
And they otherwise, had a couple of injuries the other night.
So if they don't, Hunter Clark's a big one. He's a superstar. So if they don't, they're one that could slide if they don't stay fit.
Spoke about it on another podcast, but that first 4 games are just so important.
Crucial. Yeah.
And even round 1, it does get the monkey off the back a little bit. It gives you a bit of, well, not that you're going into a season to say, we can drop a couple now, but if you go 2-2, not too bad. Like, it's okay, but if you lose the first 2, it's just panic stations, isn't it?
Who do they play round 1, the Saints?
The Saints come up
Collingwood
against
Friday night.
Collingwood Friday night. We'll go through it. So
they should win that.
We'll go through our predictions, which is hard because round 1 is such a big build-up, and we know that teams aren't firing until later in the year, but they've got, this is the cracking game. So the first game of the round, Wednesday night, the Demons play the Dogs.
You're right. It's so exciting. Like, I've been watching the NRL, just seeing the NRL back. I'm just loving it.
Yeah.
Just watching it. Crowds are there. Like, people celebrate. The players then get more up and about. Because when there's no crowds, it's a little bit... it's not great.
No, you feed off the energy of the crowd, and this one will be packed.
Huge.
Massive. In Melbourne as well. We know it was in Perth.
So this is massive. They'll be a sellout.
They've got a bit of history, these two. So
$1.60 for the D's or $2.35 for the Dogs.
I think I'll stick with the D's.
Yeah, I'll stick with the D's. Yeah.
I don't think I'll be touching either. I think I'll just be watching that one. There you go.
Got to tip one though. You can't sit on the fence.
I'm actually gonna tip the Dogs. I'm going to tip the Dogs. Okay. I think I feel like it's going to mean a lot to the Dogs. It's going to mean a lot to both of them, but I don't know. I feel like there's a bit of a grudge match here from the granny, and just the way they always go. One for you, one for us. It'll be a great battle throughout the year. Obviously, the last one in September is the most important.
In that grand final.
But it's just that second half, But the Doggies had a few injuries leading into the final. They were finding form again. It's going to be a good game. It's hard. I don't think you'd be having a bet in that game. No. The next game is a really good game. Talking about setting the tone for your season, Carlton play Richmond Thursday night. That is going to be pumping. The Tigers at $1.46 and the Blues at $2.75.
Have they ever won one of these games, Carlton?
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Built up every year, the Thursday night usually. And then...
So I did footy tipping for my work. So I've entered a footy tipping comp, and this was my upset. I picked Carlton just because that, you go to the casino and there's 12 red. Yeah. Surely it's got to be black.
Yeah.
I've gone Carlton, have to win.
Yeah, you're right. It can't keep going, can it?
So, it's the old...
What happens if Richmond come out, they win by 10 goals?
Same old.
Carlton will just be...
It's not good.
The supporters will just...
Surely...
burning.
Not again. Yeah.
It's a big game. It's a granny.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's why I think Carlton might get up. Yeah, just with... There's a few clouds hanging over a few of the Richmond crew, so And they've got, Bolter playing forward. There's some players sort of not playing in positions.
Yeah.
So I saw that. He's playing up.
Yep, he'll play forward, yeah. Interesting one.
Yeah, it is interesting.
I think, I don't know.
You're a Richmond man, are you at heart?
Grew up backing with the Tigers, yeah. They weren't too good when I was backing for them. I don't think I saw them ever play finals. So they've kind of missed all the fun.
Yeah, now you're back supporting them.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
We have $1.46 for Tigers and $2.75 for the Blues.
Yeah,
I thought it would be.
There's a serious bit of value. The line's 13.5.
Yeah,
they just no confidence in the Blues. The punters.
First up.
I love it.
Yeah. They're not great first up.
Yeah. Second up form. Oh, there you go. I think it's going to, I'd prefer to take value in most games. But like I said, I think if Voss comes in, applies the principles that we all think, it's going to be a tough game plan, a lot of effort shown. I would have thought maybe low scoring, a bit more defence. Yeah. Who knows? I think it's just going to be a cracker. So looking forward to that one. I'll take value all day, I reckon, in that one. Heading over to the Sainers v Collingwood on Friday night. Another game that's pretty well matched. The Pies are probably predicted to be below the Sainers, but round one, like you said, a few outs for the Saints. You'd think
coach Collingwood.
Yeah.
So a few different game plans from previous
Saints'
years.
form was very good late in last year. They made a few mistakes.
They end up finishing later Saints last year.
They were like 9th or 10th or around there. Just missed out. It was very tight. But they had a good run late after that bye. They had a really solid... I think they had a bye and they literally pressed the reset button and they nearly made the finals. If it wasn't for that, that start of the season. So they'll learn from that.
Yeah.
I think they're a good bet at $1.65.
Yeah. Had a
Davil's given us some
horrible
juicy
run with
odds.
injuries in that last year as well. They could never quite get their full team on the
And we speak about teams that are going well. They always have, a few stars in their team. You can go through them. Every team has one, but Saints, have probably been lacking. But Gresham's the one for me. He's got so much X factor. He could, he's your Robbie Gray type that can just absolutely turn a game. He could kick 2 or 3 really quickly. I'm keen to watch him play, to be honest.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Nick Dacos as well take the field and play. He looks mature.
Yep.
He speaks maturely. He's going to be really exciting and
just finds the footy, doesn't he?
Finds the footy.
Having 30 touches and
he looks silky.
Good mover.
Great cult.
Yeah,
as we said.
Absolutely.
Another great game, that one. The AFL's done a fantastic job here, just spreading them out. And the matchups just round one are incredible. Then we go to Geelong v Essendon. So you've got a team that's traditionally always up there with Geelong, and then you've got the baby Bombers that are progressing. They've got a nice team.
And people, the Cats finishing. They're always up there, aren't they?
They're always there.
Everyone kind of thinks they'll slide.
They're hard to beat at home.
Just never do.
So they're always going to win there.
It's a big advantage, isn't it?
10, 11 matches at home most of the time, you'd think. So that's why they're always thereabouts.
Big Tomahawk and Jessa, Cameron up forward. It's pretty hard to tip against them and dangerous.
Great leadership,
mature.
People are saying they're old, but that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I would have thought.
Yeah.
They're smart. They're smart. They're a smart footy team. Always have been. So I don't think age is going to really worry them, to be honest.
No.
So they're going to be thereabouts again. Sure. Challenging.
You can inject youth pretty easily as well. I feel like teams have got it wrong in the past. They rebuild too young. They cut all
a lot of old blokes.
Yeah, and they muck it up because the old blokes they mentor all these young guys, and then they cut all their mentors out, and these young guys actually want to play with them.
That's right.
And even if they pass them, that's the challenge. And even if the old guys are put in the twos, you can't put them all. You can't cut them all out. Maybe weed them slowly, treat them nicely, and get rid of them. But I feel like when you get rid of too many old guys, it is a hard one to rebuild because then the young guys go, you know what? I might just leave as well because I want some success.
That's right.
And it doesn't work. Then they're rebuilding again. How many teams keep rebuilding after every 4 years, rebuild again? These
are the guys along with Sydney that do it so well.
Yeah.
They're the teams. That you never really hear them about, we've got to rebuild, we've got to do this.
Nah. It's probably the last thing you want to hear. I heard it at Freo when we started losing and we're going to have a 4-year rebuild and it's... On reflection, it's probably the worst thing you want to hear is even a supporter. 4-year rebuild. It's like, I don't know about you boys, but we all want something now, or at least aspire to be winning it with a list that's young. But a rebuild is it's not what you want to hear.
Smack in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, but as an older bloke as well, they're probably thinking, geez, I'm on the way out now. When they hear that rebuild.
We've got the GWS Giants or Greater Western Sydney against the Swans.
Derby.
The Battle of the Bridge.
Battle of the Bridge.
Never got to play in one of them, John. Did you play in one of them?
Played him one, I think. Yeah,
Did
one
ya?
of the early ones. I think we got beat by about 100 and something points.
Oh, really?
Made my debut against the Swans. Yeah. Not very good memories, mate.
I watched the game. It's a great rivalry. I think
they've built it up well.
they have.
They've just...
This will be a
I
good
think
game.
it's pretty even, I think. Like
The Giants have
wins.
Giants have pegged them back I feel like the last few years. And Swans have now got a really solid young list, as you
Giants
saw.
seem to have their measure in the big games as well. I think they've beaten them in a few finals.
I'll be tipping the Giants. I think I'd rather, as I said, their list is quite mature. It's a very mature midfield. I spoke about this the other day. Tom Green is my smoky for everyone that's watching the game. Just watch him he's like a Patrick Cripps Jr. I don't want to put any pressure, but he's a big unit. He's very clean. If he plonks himself inside for most of the game, I really see him feeding all the weapons outside. And then you bring in Cogs at his best and all these other guys, Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper. They're really silky on their way out.
Yeah. Josh Kelly. Yeah.
Chook, he'll be in there. I think the Giants has got a real good midfield.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. Is it going to be wet? I don't know.
I think the Giants
raining up there.
Yeah. They got the
Flip of the coin.
Giants at $2 and Swans $1.80. The bookies have got the Swannies as favourites.
Yeah.
I'll probably take the Giants, I think. Take the 2.
I'll take Sydney. I'll mix it up.
You're going to go Sydney?
Yeah.
I'll go Giants. I've got to support me team.
It's a tough pick.
And then we go to the Lions versus Port Adelaide. This is another cracker. Ripper.
Wowee.
It's a good opening round.
Yeah.
It's a cracking opening round. They've done it so well. That's at the Gabba. So that's at home for the Lions. Port will have a...
I'll be on the Lions, I think.
Yeah.
Up at the Gabba.
Just with the crowd that they'll get in, people will want footy back.
So you probably forget about the home crowd advantage after
Absolutely.
the last couple of years, don't you?
during
You see,
COVID,
with American sport, like you
huge.
forget about the home crowd advantage. It's a massive one.
Get more free kicks.
Everything.
Yeah, it's interstate teams for sure.
Port's prelim will be something they've looked at all preseason, though. Oh, this will be a good game to watch.
Absolutely. It'll be close. I reckon it'll be really close, but Brisbane will get it done late, I reckon.
Yeah, the bookies have got Brizzy as favourites, $1.55 and the Power at $2.45. So, yeah, I'm gonna back the home team most weeks. I think that's traditionally what happens. There's another close game here with Hawks to play the Roos, North Melbourne.
Probably a couple of the lesser clubs.
Well,
this year,
young lists,
not as much.
Yeah, young lists.
Not big expectations on either team really this year. So.
It's a good game to start the season, though.
Yeah. One of them's going to get an early win.
That's it.
Feeling on top of the world.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happened last year. I think even with Swans, you might have thought, easy matchups early, and then they started knocking good teams off.
Yeah,
and
that's
hang
right.
on, these young
actually
Swans
pretty
go
good,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so
What are the odds?
we've got $1.70 for the Hawks and $2.15 for the Roos.
That's how I'd see it too, I think. Yep.
Yeah.
Say Hawks would be favourite.
Yeah, I think the Hawks.
At home as well.
Yeah. They've still got those old blokes there, Hawks, Gunston and Brewston, that can...
There's enough mature heads
There's
there.
enough talent there, to win a few games.
Again, it's a very hard one, round one, with these teams. You haven't really seen what they've been working on. It'll be...
Well, that's it. Hawthorn,
New
sort of
coach,
everyone sort of knows their game style historically. A lot of teams sort of copied it, so it'll be interesting to see how they've transitioned and what they've come up with now.
Sammy Mitchell.
Imagine that'd be
Sammy Mitchell,
something bit different.
I think he'll be a really, really good coach.
He'd probably know the game better than anyone.
Mate, he's so smart. He changed the game in some aspects. So
He'd have some ideas off his sleeve.
You played with him. What did you learn?
Yeah, he just hit the nail there. He's just a freak, just so articulated, with
smart.
Smart.
Does he love
way
footy?
He reads into the game.
Does he love it?
Loves it. Yeah, I think you have to love it to be an AFL coach.
Oh, wow.
You play what
They're
you
not,
play
always,
for
they're
20
not always
years.
well, are they?
No, there's something not right in their heads. I mean, that's because they're obsessed with footy, but it's
He's probably
they love it.
destined to be a head coach his whole career. He was always had ideas. So I reckon he'll be pretty good for him.
We actually copied a drill off him. We call it I think it was the Mitchell drill anyway, because when he marks the ball, he doesn't get off the mark.
Yeah.
And when you always talk back 10 around 5 or whatever it is.
Yeah, no one-step kicks.
Yeah. And now
he loved it.
and he was so good, but also he would just stop and he'd just see things and say someone's running past. He knows there. And
quick handball bang.
Quick handball bang. It opens the game up.
Yeah.
So we practiced that one, and but now with this rule where you can the man on the mark has to stand still.
Yeah.
Imagine him with that rule back in the
absolutely.
I mean, he sliced you when they could move.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing both teams improve this year. And then you go to a couple of, again, some competitive games. The AFL has definitely drawn this fixture up perfectly. You got the Dockers playing the Crows over in Adelaide, I believe. Yes, it is. It's in Adelaide. So big game for both clubs. You got the Dockers at $1.75 and the Crows at $2.10.
Yeah, that's probably. See it. Dockers for me.
Yeah.
You guys see the Dockers improving. So you
just Adelaide over there, even though the home crowd advantage and all that. Historically, the Dockers travel pretty well. It's definitely there, isn't it? Adelaide?
Yep. Adelaide, it's in Adelaide,
So I think they travel well. No matter where they play, they generally play pretty well. So I would tip the Dockers.
Take Freo? Yeah, I think Freo for me.
Adelaide would be interesting where they finish, I reckon, and with how many games.
Yeah, it's
they still got some really good players, and they got some blokes, Ben Keys, that have really improved. So interesting.
And then this is a big game for the Gold Coast Suns. We've got West Coast Eagles taking on the Gold Coast Suns in Perth. So
Gold Coast, they start the season well every year.
Yeah, they do.
West Coast have had a lot of problems over the preseason with injuries and
and bad publicity as well.
Yeah, I reckon they're a bit of a slider this year. West Coast.
Again, it's that home crowd. They're hard to beat over there.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the good teams beat them, and the lesser teams in the bottom 8, they probably win against. So
they are such a home.
I will say that I reckon they'll win, but I think Gold Coast will be a pretty good improver this year.
Yeah.
I really like their midfield. They're fit. They're young. Obviously, King going out's a big one, but they got Marbiel Chol to fill the void.
He's good.
I think he'll be good. He's
and Lukosius played forward in the Truckee game I watched. He was really good up there.
Yeah, I do like him.
And he'd be
back, though.
Yeah, you do like him back.
Ball use is
good kick.
So silky.
Decision making.
It'll be interesting whether they do like a Jake Carlisle. He used to dominate the Dons, just go forward and back and swings it.
Swingman.
Not just then, but does it now. But
take Gold Coast this game. I'll try to find a bit of value.
I think
what are they paying?
It's a last game of the round. It's $2.10 for the Suns. I think we take the Suns. Probably if you were to pick one game, 2 games that you're going to be keeping a real close eye on this in the round 1, what are the 2 most important games you think for certain clubs?
I think the first 2 for me. Yeah,
same.
The grand final rematch and then the big hype around Carlton and Richmond every year. So, I think the first 2.
Yeah, and they're in great slots. I suppose, Saints and Collingwood as well.
So Wednesday, Thursday. It's not what's today? Monday. So
yeah,
nearly into it.
Yeah,
the missus will be pumped. Me watching footy every night. So
2 kids
to bed.
Work.
Yep.
Training and then watching footy. It's going to be great. Like I said, I hope the AFL does more of this. I'm not sure what the plans are, how many Thursday night games we've got, but it's not the best playing for preparation, but there's nothing better than watching. I think that Carlton Richmond game is something that I'm looking forward to watching. How many? They'll get 100,000.
Yeah, 80 plus surely.
Both of them, those first 2 games should be sellouts.
That's brilliant.
Well, you going to try to get 20 games, Tommy?
Yeah, I will, mate. I'm actually working in Richmond, day to day, the Commons, like a co-working space. So I'm looking forward to it. There's actually beers on tap there and everything. So just pop around there after work. It's a cool little. I'm living, in Melbourne now. I'm like a born again virgin down here in Victoria. I don't know my way around. Even Brighton bars today. That's a first for me ever.
Really?
Yeah. I've never been there.
Yeah, right.
We've never St Kilda bars, C bars. We do recovery there when we come pop in. He lives just around the corner. I'd never go that far. There's just no need to.
Yeah.
So starting to play. You been playing a bit of golf?
Yeah. I played Kingston Heath a couple of days ago, and
How'd you go?
Victoria the week before that. And it'd been 2 years since I'd played.
Oh,
long time, having kids, mate.
Well, it's one of those things you need time for golf.
And it used to be a good relaxer after footy and during the week. But I played some 2 cracking courses, so went okay.
You got a handicap?
I do. I'm off 10, but
that's
when I was playing. So I had 29 points the other day with about 5 wipes off 10. So a few birdies and pars, but then I was inconsistent. So if I can get that, if I can at least get 1 or 2s instead of wipes, then I'm back up there with my handicap. So not too bad. Second game back.
But you've been playing a bit of golf as well, haven't you, John?
Well, I had a game on the weekend on Saturday, but up before then I wouldn't have played in probably 2 or 3 years. So it's one of those games I'd love to play more and get into it, but then it's a frustrating game, isn't it? You do, when you do hit a few nice shots, geez, I love this, but
I was saying
it's more bad than good in my game anyway. So
and the classic mate, just get a lesson and you'll be sweet. I reckon I tell blokes that. I've never had a lesson.
Doesn't work.
Nah.
You need more than one.
I was saying to you the other day, I reckon one of the best things to do is Ambrose, 2v2.
Absolutely.
And if you don't get as angry because like say we're together and you butcher yours and I hit a nice one, you're giving me a hug. It's a bit of teamwork and
that's the best.
If you play against some competitive couple, like you get a couple you want to smash and have beers on the line or whatever.
Maybe a little esky in the golf.
Oh, esky for sure. Yeah, big tick for the esky. Well, boys, it's heading up in the van here, and I really appreciate your time. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while.
I know, it's been a while,
and I haven't seen John since last night at the last one in. So
wow,
it's been
dusty. The boys,
pretty keen to have a bit of a spell from you now, mate. I think.
Yeah, I said to John, I had a quiet weekend down at Torquay Jan Juck, and we went to our mate's bar in Anglesey last night. Big shout out to Joshy Morris at the last one in, and a few spicy margaritas too many, I think, John.
Yeah. I don't think we even paid the tab, mate, at the end. So I think we might have.
Well, it's under your.
Getting hit up during the.
Yeah, it's actually under your name, and I'm waiting for you to go. Hey, mate, transfer me. Whatever.
Send you the details, mate.
You'll add a bit of mayonnaise and GST on that for sure. Nah, gents, thanks for coming on Tommy Talks. It's AFL opener first for me, and we'll do it again maybe mid-season and see how our predictions are tracking. It'd be good to track them.
Absolutely, sounds good. Thanks
Perfect,
for having us, mate.
Yeah, thanks, lads.